Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Just wanted to make sure, so I'm broadcasting on StreamYard. So I'm live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. I just want to make sure that I hate when this happens, that everyone on LinkedIn is hearing me clearly. Yes. So I've been sitting on this topic for a while. Like, oh no. So I need to find, okay, let's end this. Okay, can you, okay, awesome. Thank you very much for letting me know. I'm doing a presentation later on, and I think I set up my system so that I can have that double screen, and for some reason not. I removed my volume was off. So thank you very much for letting me know that. I appreciate it. So just give me 1 second here. Oh, you can't see her and you can't hear me? Okay, how? Oh. Oh my gosh. Can you hear me now, Michael? Can you hear me now? I can. Oh, okay, awesome. I don't know. I'm mind blown at the moment as to what's happening. I'm looking
Okay,
like
how?
I'm looking like that weird person that's doing that into my
Oh my gosh. Can
into
you hear me now, Michael? Can you hear me now? I can. Oh, okay, awesome. I don't know.
yeah, that's looking into my camera in the weird way. So I apologize. Thank you very much for your patience. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all being here. This is a topic that it's been on my mind for a while. Okay, let me get myself set up here on Instagram. Okay. So I want to thank you all. No, thank you very much for your patience. First of all, I appreciate it. Technology, for some reason, decided not to work with me this morning, but I appreciate you hanging there with me and showing your love and support. As I was saying, this topic is something that I've been holding on to for a while. Like, I thought about doing just a stock post, and then I thought about doing a poll, and then I thought about just doing like a 1 minute video and posting it. But every time I thought about it, I didn't think those medium were enough to have a conversation and to really drive change when it comes to what women wear. So I decided I'm going to, because at first it was going to be a rage post. Like, I knew in that moment it was going to be a rage post, and I didn't want it to be that. I wanted to have a meaningful and productive conversation where we really understand and talk about why women wear the things they wear, where it came from, and how can we change it as a society and as women. And as women, we have the choice to determine what we wear and to really make that decision for ourselves in terms of what we want to wear. So I decided not to do the rage post and really come here to have this conversation. So thank you very much for joining me. If you're joining me for the first time, you're not following me on social, then I definitely suggest you will follow me so that you don't miss any of these conversations. I like to have these conversations because I think we're in a time and space where it's necessary, and we should not censor ourselves in terms of just having these conversations in private, but really bring it to everyone, have a discussion and see how we can make changes, because we can't live in a society where we say, oh, that was happening way back when, so it's acceptable now. It's like, no, there's so many things, especially when it comes to women's rights and equality, that needs to change, right? And in order for us to make those changes or see those changes happening, we have to be bold enough and brave enough to step forward, to have the conversation in the different spaces that we're in, and also to make the effort to make that change, right? The change within ourselves and the change within the communities that we're in. Hi, Michael. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support and letting me know that all is well with my audio and video as well. I appreciate that. So why is it that the rules are so different for women when it comes to what we wear, right? Why do you think? Let me know. That's something I want to know from you. As I said, I want this to be a conversation because I want to see what people are thinking and what is they understand, what are your understanding around this topic? Like, what do you see? And, as it relates to maybe you or a family member or just looking out, like, why do you think the rules are different? Let me know from you. Drop it in the comments. Let's have a discussion, because there is certainly a bias and going more so this level of sexism when it comes to what women wear. And the majority of the times, we are not in control of what we wear, right? We're not in control. The fashion industry tells us what we should wear. Our employees tells us what we should wear. Family and friends tells us what we should wear. And most of the times, women, like, we are not determining for ourselves what we should wear. And this is why I love the work that I do, because I'm putting women in control of what they wear. You get to decide what you wear. You get to decide how you want to feel. You get to decide how you want to show up. At the end of the day, whatever you choose to wear, it must be appropriate for the environment that you're going into. But you must decide what you want to wear. And in order to really take that power back, we have to understand not only your relationship with clothes, but also some of the stories and some of the things that you would have been told and that you're hanging on to, that's influencing the way you're getting dressed. And yes, systematic gender inequality, of course, because if we look back to the history of women's wear, like, I'm fascinated right now I'm doing the research that I'm doing on what the dress code was in the Victorian era, the World War II, World War One, the uniforms that women were given and what they were told to wear, and how they used clothing to segregate different society. Like, in society, the rich women wore this, and if you were poor, this is what you wore. So there's a whole history behind it, and I wouldn't go into all of it today, but what I wanted to touch on today is the history of, just to go through the history of women's uniform in sports and women's uniform in the workplace. So women's uniform in sports, before we've seen what we're seeing right now in terms of the eruption that's happening, within the Victorian era, women were told that if they were playing tennis, if they were playing football, whatever sports they were taking part in, they had to wear long skirts. Now, can you imagine playing a sport in a skirt below your ankle, like trying to run, trying to maneuver? Like it's ridiculous, right? It's uncomfortable. It is like there's a possibility that you can trip and fall. But women were told that this is what they should wear because, and this is the part that gets me, you shouldn't show your ankles. Like women shouldn't show their ankles. That's crazy. To me, that's crazy. Like you put women in a uniform to play a sport because you don't want them to be sexual beings. You don't want them to tap into their femininity and their sexuality because, and only because, our male counterparts will feel uncomfortable. So don't show your ankle. You women shouldn't show their body, shouldn't show it unless it's to the person that they're with. It's like, no, right? And then we take it even further into World War II. In baseball, women were told to wear short skirts. Like that was the uniform given to women to play baseball. Again, the sexualization of women for someone else's pleasure. Like it's a sport. You're going to be running and sliding and doing different things. Why? And how come someone thinks it's appropriate for a woman to don a mini skirt to play a sport? Right? And then we bring it to this century, this decade that we're in, where we look at sports like beach volleyball, we look at sports like handball, and women are given a uniform of a bikini. Like, think about that. Women are told to go to work because you playing a sport that is your livelihood, that's your employment, that's your job, right? So your employee, i.e. the associations, your employer, the associations for these different sporting organizations are telling you, in order for you to do your job effectively, you have to wear a bikini. And for me, it's like, I don't get it. Because if you look at the males within the same industry and what they're wearing, the same event and what they're wearing, they're fully clothed, right? And this is where I look at it, and it pains me whenever I talk to women and understanding why they're wearing certain things. You know, it's like someone within their family told them that, okay, you shouldn't show too much skin, or you shouldn't look this way, or you shouldn't do that. And as a result, they took that on, or the industries that they're in give them a specific uniform and that's what they're wearing, but it's not who they are, right? It doesn't represent who they are, nor is it appropriate for the environment, right? When we think about the workplace, and women were told most of the uniforms, I mean, we all know that when women entered the workforce, it was this, because there's, taboo, because there's that mindset that women should not work, women should not be breadwinners, women shouldn't do this, like the box that we were put into. And specifically when it came to what we should wear to work, we were then given a uniform. So women were told that they should only, like, women were only allowed to wear skirts and dresses. They had to wear pantyhose or stockings. Your skirt or dress could not be above your knee. It needed to be below your knee. not because it was comfortable and it was appropriate, but because a cross section of society thought that if your skirt was 2 inches above your knee, for some reason or not, you're sexualizing, you're distracting, you are, no one in the workplace can concentrate if you came in there with a skirt above your knee. That's ridiculous to me. Yeah, I totally agree. It's dictating, and we can see based on the history, it's dictating what women wear, controlling us in every aspect. And whenever we're having these conversations about women's equality and you're talking about women's right, there's a part of there are persons who are going to be like, no, that's not happening. Oh, I'm doing great. Or, oh, this is happening. They ignore it and realize there's a systematic problem when it comes to, and for me, specifically based on what I do, there's a problem when it comes to what women wear, right? And it affects a woman's confidence, the way she feels about herself, the way she wants to show up, the way, just knowing that I'm feminine and I can be professional and still wear a pleated skirt. I can be professional. I can still dominate the boardroom and be comfortable wearing a bold red lipstick and pumps that makes me feel great. I remember I was on a networking event and I think I was presenting. I was talking about style and the importance of building your personal style for yourself and also having an image based on the things that you wear when you enter that room to be able to command attention and respect and being able to stand out, making yourself different, becoming known and heard, and going through that. And I remember someone saying to me, as much as she appreciates that within her field, and her field being finance, that, and as well as being a Black woman, that she couldn't afford to stand out. She couldn't afford to be herself. I remember her making the comment that I would wear exactly, so to speak, mirror her male colleagues in terms of what they wore. They wore the gray and white, she wore gray and white because she did not want to stand up. So ideally, basically what happened is she checked herself at the door, her authentic self, in order to show up in this space that said, or what we've heard in the past, it's saying that you cannot be successful, feminine, powerful, and still be kind and soft and come across as caring, like, right? And there are a lot of women that's doing that I've spoken to, and they're like, okay, yeah, I wear what I wear because I don't think I can wear my leopard pumps to my finance job or my legal job. I don't think I can wear that neon. Okay, let's not go with neon. I can't wear that red shirt because everyone else is wearing black and white. I don't want to stand out like that. But yet we want opportunities, right? And we want to be able to move forward. And I think this is where we as women have to take control. I'm not suggesting in no way, shape, or form that you enter your work environment, your business, dressing inappropriately, right? You still have to maintain some form of decorum. You still have to have that professional look, but you get to decide. You get to decide what you wear. You get to decide how comfortable, what can you wear to feel comfortable in. You get to decide what is your power piece. Like, if you don't feel comfortable wearing dresses, you don't have to wear dresses. If you don't feel comfortable wearing a pantsuit, you don't have to do that. Right? I've always said that no two women are the same, and no two women within the same industry are the same. You being a financial advisor, we all know like the stereotype when it comes to, oh, you say, oh, I'm a financial advisor, and you introduce yourself, people want to do an about turn and just run away from you. But imagine if you decide that the industry uniform is gray and white, black and white, blue and white, and you decided overall you have to dress in a professional manner, and you decided that your professional wear for your industry and your personal brand is going to be someone who is bold, is confident, is unique in that you're not wearing that gray and white, you're not wearing that black and white. You wear your red lipstick, you wear your leopard pumps, you wear tailored structured pants, you mix colors and patterns. Not only are you being your authentic self, not only are you allowing who you are in the inside to come out on the outside, but imagine now you introduce yourself to someone, say, I'm a financial advisor. The first thing they'll be like, ooh, you're different. Oh, you're a financial advisor. I want to know what you have to say, right? And this is where I really encourage women, really encourage women to start thinking about how can you show up? How can you show up as yourself wearing the things that you want to wear and you're comfortable wearing? When I think about, I think we've all, well, I hope we've all seen it by now. The Norwegian women's handball team were fined for improper clothing. That was the quote. Improper clothing, because they refused to wear bikini bottoms. And I'm not going to go through the measurements and tell you how big, how wide it was supposed to be, but we all know what a bikini bottom is to play a sport, to go to their work, to do their job. And they're like, no, okay, we don't feel comfortable wearing this. This level of sexism needs to stop. Like, we can play this sport, we can be successful, we can be great at it. We don't have to wear bikini bottoms, right? So their protest to me was a lot more than the bikini bottom. It was more of saying that we have the power to decide what we want to wear, because our bodies go through so many changes. And here's it, your employer is telling you you have to wear bikini bottom. What if you feel self-conscious within yourself that day? What if you had a baby and you haven't quite bounced back to that yesteryear body, and so you don't feel as confident? But here's it, your job is telling you, your employer is telling you, this is what you have to wear. And for me, that protest, that's what it demonstrated. And I think when we think about the and just to go on, just to my thread, just to go on that, is that the protest for me, yes, it was more than a bikini bottom, but it also started a conversation that we probably were having quietly, and women that I've spoken to are having it with themselves, where they're like, oh, I feel uncomfortable with what I'm wearing at work, but you don't want to say anything. That protest, I think, gave us the power to say no more. No more. We don't have to wear this to work, especially when the male team or your male colleagues are not being restricted by the same, or the same rules don't apply to them, right? That's, for me, that's it. Yeah, I mean, it's not pissed off, it's more of, I have the right to choose for me. And a lot of persons who are objecting to women having the right to choose and make decisions for themselves were part of that decision making era where women weren't viewed as equal. Women weren't in the workforce, where women were an object. We are not objects. We're not objects, right? So our uniform and what we wear shouldn't be something to either be sexual to draw you in, to appeal to you, or to things that we're wearing to hide ourselves because we don't want to be feminine and we don't want to feel sexual in our bodies and our being. Like, we're not objects. We're not objects. Yeah. It is, and it is time for us as women to really step forward. And I applaud the Norwegian team for doing that. And even so, like the German teams, because I remember looking at, before I became a personal stylist, before I became an image coach, I remember looking at gymnastics. Gymnastics is one of those sports that I absolutely love to watch. I was like, why are they wearing leotards? Like, why do they have to wear, like, the women, why do they have to wear leotards? But, it came to me and it kind of just went. But there's this conversation now. It's like, you don't have to wear a short leotard. You can wear a full leotard and still be the greatest gymnast ever. Right? I remember I saw a quote from one of the gymnasts. I think her name is Elizabeth, where she said that the reason why they chose to wear that full leotard is because they wanted to show every woman and everybody should decide what to wear. You should decide what you wear. And they wanted to show women, and they wanted to feel comfortable. Like, there's also this mass amount of pressure to do your job. And here is it, you're showing up in a uniform that makes you feel uncomfortable. Your body is changing. Who you are, is changed. Showing up in that manner is just, to me, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I love the conversations that's happening. Yeah, it's completely irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant, right? It's completely irrelevant. And I think when I look at it, it's because of all these things that we were told as women to wear or not to wear. And, so you have women are saying, oh, I don't want to wear this. I'm talking to them during the consultation. It's like, oh, I wish I can wear that. And I'm like, why? Why are you wishing? Why can't you wear it? Oh, I don't want to come across as I'm trying too much. I don't want to come across as, I don't want to stand out too much. Other people's opinion of, what I wear is a big thing, and I don't want to have that. So I'll just blend in. Like, no. Personal style for me starts with you. Are you comfortable in what you're wearing? Let me put that question out there. Are you comfortable in the clothing that you're wearing currently? Like, things that you're wearing. Are you wearing it because it's the only thing you know? As in, you may be in an industry and you're told professional wear is this, and everybody in the office shows up with gray and white and blue and white, and so you're wearing that. Where in yourself, that, okay, this is not what I want to wear. Like, this is depressing. Like, I've had that feeling before. Working in banking and finance for 15 years, the bank that I worked for, they had uniforms. The typical, when I started, it was a typical blue and white. I think there were pants and skirt. Those were the options. Pants, skirt, blazer. Those were the outfits that you were given. And if you know anything, or if you've ever worked in the financial industry, the first thing that I did, I worked as a teller. And if you've worked as a teller, customer service, you know how busy it can get, ridiculously busy. And you want to be comfortable, right? And it can be frustrating and depressing dealing with different personalities, customer personalities and complaints, and trying to compose yourself and feel great about yourself. And here's it, you're stuck in this uniform that's doing absolutely nothing for you. Right. So I remember those days of feeling like, oh my gosh, I just want to shed this. Like, this is not who I am. I get professional wear, but this is boring as hell. And so one year, the company that I was working for decided that, okay, they're going to revamp the entire uniform. They're going to change the committee, add more people, different voices and faces to the community, so to the uniform committee, so that we can have variations. And because people were complaining about it, it's like it didn't fit, the uniforms didn't fit everybody type, it didn't suit everybody type, right? And there was no variety for different body types. And I remember the first meeting that I went to, and I look around the room as to who the current members were on that committee. And I was like, no wonder we're wearing what we're wearing, right? Because these were women who weren't confident in their bodies, who weren't confident in their skin, who felt as though as a woman, you should wear clothing to hide, who felt that being feminine is not something that you should put on display at work. So you showing up with a floral shirt, or you showing up with a pleated skirt, nice and flowing summer dress, spring dress, whatever it is, that it was too feminine for the workplace. For somehow being feminine and professional couldn't go together. And I was like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, right? That is ridiculous. And this is what this entire conversation is. How can you show up appropriately dressed for the environment that you're in, but at the same time, be yourself, show up as yourself, wear things that make you feel confident and comfortable, right? So the other question that I wanted to ask you, because this conversation is to get you thinking and as to what you're currently doing, what you're currently wearing, and how can we change that? So do you think the clothes that you're wearing is truly reflecting who you are as a person? Is it in alignment with who you are? Are you showing up in an authentic way? Do you feel great in your clothes? Or are you just wearing the uniforms that were given to us that is not appropriate for us? So what can we do? While we're doing, we're having these bold and brave women paving the way and saying, no more. I want to wear clothes that I'm comfortable in. I should determine what I wear as a woman to work. I should have some say in what that looks like. This is not about taking control or having power in a way that you're demeaning anyone. No, when I talk about feeling powerful and having power, it's not about controlling anyone. It's not about standing on a pedestal thinking that you are better than anyone. It's no. We're talking about, and I am talking about, the right to choose what I want to wear, the right to feel confident and comfortable in the things that I choose. So if you are that woman who is you're a lover of colors, and you feel vibrant wearing heels, and you feel vibrant wearing statement necklaces, and you feel vibrant wearing certain articles of clothing. The goal is, how can you incorporate those pieces and at the same time dress appropriately for your environment? Exactly. It's pushing back on, and that's it. Pushing back on taking that power and that control is pushing back on that, yes, boring clothing and style that we were given by men to wear. Fashion and style, like what you wear, is an expression of self. It's an ability for you to show who you are. It's your ability to let people know certain things about you and how you feel about yourself without them even having to ask a question. Like if someone saw you, quick second, especially when we talk about social media, quick second on social media, and I'm seeing your image there. There's something about, the way you look, your appearance, that draw me, and that make me stop, that make me want to see what you're talking about, right? So it's for us to really work on expressing ourselves through the clothes that we wear. And how do we do this? For me, this is a big thing. We have to, for those of us that have kids, especially girls, we have to teach them not only how to feel confident, how to love their bodies, we have to not pigeonhole them based on what we know ourselves in terms of the history of what women wear. So if your daughter wants to go to ballet in a full leotard instead of a bikini, allow her to do that. Right? She does not have to wear a bikini. Right? Because we need to change that narrative. And this is the only way we change it, is if we take an active role in doing it. It's not just up to the celebrities and the women in sports, but it's also up to us. They're giving us the confidence to do it. They're bringing, certain issues when we look around that we may in ourselves be ignoring, right? We may have decided that, okay, I don't have a large enough voice to speak on this. You may have decided. But whenever you see these changes and these conversations are happening, step out. Step out and say yes. And when you say yes, this is where, when you have the conversation with your daughter of confidence and wearing clothes that she feels confident and comfortable wearing, you now have to lead by example. You have to lead by example. Leading by example means mom is not going to wear clothing to hide. Mom is not going to wear clothing that is not a true representation of who she is. But mom is going to feel confident and secure in her skin to wear the things that she's comfortable wearing. And we have to take the lessons that we've noticed, because I can get on my entire soapbox about this, because it still blows my mind that the Norwegian team, that women's handball team, were fined. Like a group of people sitting on this board, organization, or whatever is it you call it, said, you know what? We told y'all that y'all should be wearing bikini bottoms, and y'all decided that y'all gonna wear shorts instead. Okay, we're gonna penalize you for that. Like, my mind is still blown by that, right? So we have to decide as women, lead by example as women, as to how we want to show up, what we want to wear. right? Lead by example. So if right now you're wearing something that every time you look in your mirror, you don't feel good about yourself, or you knowingly are wearing things that you have your work outfits, like, oh, I'm just gonna blend in. Like for women in tech, I've had conversations with women in tech, and they're like, it's such a casual environment, and everybody's wearing hoodies, so you decide that you're gonna wear that, but it's not necessarily who you are. It's like, you can be comfortable, but you don't have to wear the hoodie. You don't have to check yourself at the door to be successful, to excel at what you're doing. You can enter that room being your complete self. And what you wear is part of your identity, is who you are, and it should be how you show up as well. Right. And we have to join together collectively. It's not if you're working in an industry where there are multiple women are saying, I don't feel comfortable in this attire. I don't feel comfortable wearing and showing up this way. Collectively, you have to come together and decide that you're going to use your voice to create that change. You don't have to have a powerful platform. You don't have to be a successful athlete. You don't allow your position to stop you from making that change, from speaking out. Band together. There's unity in strength. There's no strength in unity. Yeah, that's the saying. There's strength in unity. You come together and you do it. Sometimes you may have to do it on your own. That's okay. If you want to and you feel confident and brave enough and bold enough, go ahead, do it. But don't sacrifice who you are, not showing up as yourself because you are adopting to or fitting into the rules that were set as to what you should wear as a woman. But the same rules don't apply to men. Have you ever gone into any restaurant and saw men walking around in bikinis, uh, speedos? Like, I've never done it. I've never gone in and saw a man topless unless it's a male bar, like you go to Vegas and you go to one of these events and that's what they do, they're stripping or something like that. But you don't see that in for men going into the workforce. So we have the power to change. There's no way you should work in a restaurant, work at a bar where you have to wear a bikini bottom, you have to wear scanty clothing because that's what the manager or whoever the owner thinks is going to inspire someone to buy a drink. Like, no, we're not using ourselves that way, right? Or you should not check yourself at the door in wearing baggy clothing and frumpy clothing and clothing that don't make you feel great about yourself because you don't want anyone to view you as a sexual being or anything like that. Like no, right? Like, no, you cannot limit who you are to appease anyone else. So if I showed up in my leopard pumps and my black and white suit, tailored suit to fit me, and I feel great and I feel confident and I'm going into that room to kick ass and to do everything that I want to do, it's like, oh, I have to now consider that Tommy over there may think this shoes is too sexy for work. Like, really? Like really? Like, really? Maybe. And when it comes down to, as I said before, teaching our girls to love their bodies and to be confident and bold and knowing what they want to wear and showing up as themselves, we also have to teach our boys that women are not possessions, that women have the right to choose what they wear and what they do with their bodies. Right? So that's what I wanted to leave with you today, is to really start thinking in your space. How are you showing up? What are you wearing? Is it, quote unquote, the invisible wardrobe that you're hiding behind because you don't want to stand out, because you don't want to be sexualized in a way, or you don't want to be a distraction, so to speak? Like, why are you wearing what you're wearing? Why are you wearing what you're wearing? I would love to see your answers. I would love to see that in the chat. Have it going. Why are you wearing what you're wearing? Let's talk about it. Let's see how we can get you to that space where you're wearing things that's appropriate for the environments that you're going into, but makes you feel happy and confident. Thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate it. Let's go forward and kick some ass. Have a great one, guys. Take care. Bye.